Heavenly Awakening. Heavenly Awakening, good afternoon and good night to the beautiful entity watching this video. It's your boy Divine Messenger. We're back with another message and understand. Before we get into this, we're going to take our time with this video because every single day we're constantly evolving. And of course, I don't want to talk y'all ear off for this intro, but we're going to get right into this. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more divine messages. And I'm going to reiterate back to what I was saying. So, of course, you know, by me being so excited, being so passionate, I have to slow myself down because I understand that many of you that are watching this, especially if you're an OG supporter or if you're a new supporter, you probably wonder like, damn, he probably said that way too fast, or you're probably not able to comprehend what I'm saying at a certain speed as I'm teaching. So me, I'm going to do better, and I do want to apologize to all the people that do watch these videos and probably don't know how to say it to me, but it's like, of course, we're a family, so we all have to get better with one another. So it's like, if I'm doing something wrong, it's like, you know, let me know, because I have no problem with criticism, obviously, because I get to choose whether if I want to take it or not. But I need to work on myself and my public speaking as well, and not speaking so fast. But either way it goes, let's get into this video. And thank you to the person that told that about me. You know, I really appreciate that. So now let's get into this video. And with this video today, I want to stand this up, but shit, fuck it. You know, fuck it. So his name is, I want to say Akil7042. How is it that Paul got caught up to the third heaven but wasn't allowed to speak on it? Yet lots of people on YouTube get caught up and are supposedly free to tell what they saw. Are these people for real, or are they just having dreams? Excuse me. How is it that Paul? Okay, that's a great question too. So, and mind you, I'm just going to keep on rereading it so that I can discern it and then give you the correct answer. How is it that Paul got caught up to the third heaven but wasn't allowed to speak on it? Okay, so the thing is too, so before we get into this whole teaching, because I got different research that I did as well, and of course I got help with the research also. So we have different information, and there is no truth to this information, but I'm neither right nor wrong, by the way. Now, he got caught up in the third heaven because what is the third heaven? The third heaven is nothing but a dimension, a spiritual dimension and a mental dimension and a dream. So, and I'm glad that you asked that question as well, because you said, yet lots of people on YouTube get caught up and are supposedly free to tell what they saw. Yes, because you do have freedom of speech, supposedly. Are these people for real? No. Or are they just having dreams? No. So understand too, Paul wasn't, first of all, he wasn't a real person. And you can, and then you're probably like, how does that make any sense? What do you mean by that? For one, look at the title Paul. When it comes to titles, so propel, when it comes to like Zen, water, when it comes to like this, okay, or remotes, these are titles. So tall, I said tall. Paul was not a real person. What do I mean? That was nothing but this was like an indication on our conscious mind, or our subconscious mind, as a matter of fact. Excuse me for that. Because subconsciously, man-made concepts came up with the English language. First of all, first and foremost, we gotta understand that these are nothing but spells. And when I mean spells, it's that whatever these beings did to us, they placed us in their frequency, because before we were in our own divinity, we didn't have to open our mouth to actually speak common sense. We were speaking in frequencies without our mouth being even open, meaning that we were always in bliss. We were in a blissful state of mind, and we were always conscious above our own consciousness. Because of that, we didn't have to talk about different titles in the Bible or in just life in general. We weren't calling each other titles, because titles limit the God within us, meaning that if I wanted to call you a name, what I would call my people, I'm gonna call you God or Goddess. So hey, good afternoon, God. Good afternoon, Goddess. That's how I would speak to my people, because that's more uplifting than calling you a title that your mom or dad gave you, because you're not your name. Because who are you without your name? That's the thing. Your name defines who you think you are, but you're not who you think you are. So because of that, Paul wasn't caught up in the third heaven, but he was in different heavens all at once. So they're telling us to limit ourselves to think that he was at the third heaven. But what is the third heaven? Meaning that Paul was having a dream. Not only that, these people are not real. None of us are even real in the first place, because what is real in a fictional world? And if we die, did we ever exist in the first place? Were we ever real? Think about that. If we're born to die, were we ever born in the first place if we're dead? And on top of that, if we're energy, we can't even die. We just transfer our consciousness into a different thought process. So what's the point of living then if we literally go into a different dimension and come right back to this dimension if we don't know what we're talking about, or if we don't know what we're learning within our spirit? So that's why, to me, it's like, yes, they're having dreams. So Paul had a a prophetic dream to where he was literally in that higher divinity, in that third plane of existence, to get him to understand what kind of message that he was being presented from the Almighty Creator. Because Paul, or scratch that, let's go and use discernment. The being or the awakened entity that was named Paul to limit himself, the awakened being back then was given that awakened capabilities to awaken himself beyond the society's comprehension. So he was basically a demigod. He was a hybrid, and he was awakened beyond the human simulation or the human comprehension, meaning that human beings or the masses could not comprehend what Paul was even becoming or what he was, but they knew that he was special, he was gifted because of the things that he was presenting to the masses. So now let's get into that. Let's get into the information that I was provided. Okay, so when it comes to, so understand as well, actually, let me go research that too. 2 Corinthians, let me get into that, because there was a Bible verse too that I was mentioned that came up to Paul. So it's called 2 Corinthians 12, verse 2, verse 4. And we're going to read that together so that we can get a clear indication of what, like we need context for what he was doing. 2 Corinthians 2. I do apologize too. I'm never prepared. I always do my teachings in real time. I don't never study or do research, but I do research. Okay. Let's see here. Is that the correct one? No, let me put Paul. Okay, let's see here. I think I might have found it. For I wrote out to you out of my affliction and anguish of heart and with many tears, not to cause you pain, but to let you know the abundant love that I have for you. Okay. Now, so to me, because now, so if I'm going to use the sermon now, I just got to download too. That to me means that this is where the Creator was giving him that access. So actually, great. Thank you, Creator. That's basically, actually too, let's go to Bible Gateway as well. Because that's the Spirit talking through Paul for him to understand why he did that. So, for I wrote you out of great distress and anguish of your heart, and with many tears, not to grieve you, but to let you know the depth of my love for you. Meaning that our Creator loves us and loves him so much to where he was able to transcend. Like, so it's a dimension, and like the depth and dimension means that he was able to not only have a higher density within his spirit, but he was able to stretch his consciousness beyond space and time to where he made it beyond a higher timeline, to where he was able to see the third heaven, but he wasn't able to speak on that for a certain reason because people would not be able to comprehend why he was actually seeing this different timeline or different time existence beyond time itself, meaning that in like BCE and AD and all these different negative timelines before the year 1, before it became 2024, he already had that gift of being a seer and a revelator, meaning that when he was in that higher heaven, he was already able to see beyond divinity. And of course, the Creator was telling him, like, through his mind, literally, because he was having a dream. So as he was having that message in his dream, he was basically astral projecting and lucid dreaming. And because of that, the Creator was saying, like, you can't just go back to this simulation. Like, this simulation right here, you can't go back and just tell people what you're seeing because they're going to be like, the hell he talking about? Exactly, Paul. So it's like, you might as well just like, because basically if he was opening his mouth and just speaking it, their subconscious would be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. That's satanic. Stay away from me, weirdo. So, yeah. But like, time frames. So this event when he was able to transcend the third heaven, that happened 14 years before Paul even wrote about it. So basically Paul had his own Bible, his own prophecy, and he was journaling about it. So where now we're able to read it. 2, a state of mind, state of consciousness. Paul was very uncertain whether he was in his body or out of the body during the experience. I told you that before I even read that. That's crazy. Come on now. Basically, Paul's subconscious mind and conscious mind were contradicting itself to thinking that he was out of his body or inside of his body, but he didn't even know because he was literally having a spiritual awakening. Location. He was caught up in the third heaven, and he referred to it as paradise, meaning that there are different dimensions to heaven. So there's a third heaven, a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10. But to me, I think that there's like 9 billion heavens. I for one, you can't even put a number on heaven because there's so many dimensions out there. It's like, it's a multiverse, meaning like, spiritually, if we dream, we go into different dimensions. It's like your spirit will go into this dimension one time, and then the next like a minute later, you'll be in a whole another different heaven, and then boom, your spirit will go to this dimension, and then it's like you're just going all over the different web of consciousness, literally. So it's like a flower of life. Okay, he had an auditory experience, so he heard inexpressible things, literally, meaning that, so he was hearing things to where it's like you have a spiritual awakening, and when you come down from that high, you'll be able to hear things mentally to where people will call you schizophrenic. Like, people will name call you or call you names because they can't comprehend what you're even saying. So they'll place programs or subconscious programs to limit the God within you so that you don't awaken the God within you, because their ego does not want you to tell the truth to their lies and prohibition. And he was not permitted to speak about the things he heard. Literally, I just told you that. Okay, now let's go into the deeper. I got another one too. Let's see here. Okay, now we got different traditions that believe in different heavens, and we're just gonna read them off because you got to think about it, because people are usually hearing about heaven from like Christianity standpoints or spiritual standpoints, but when it comes to information, you have to actually be open-minded into hearing other religions out, because they believe in a different heaven, right? So with Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah, and in Kabbalah, heavens are described in multiple layers with 7 primary levels beyond the third. Told you. And one of them is called, if I mispronounce these names, I do apologize, but I'll spell them out for you. M-A-C-H-O-N. Machon. Machon. If I said that wrong, I don't mean to offend you, but it is what it is. The place of heavenly archives and records. I would call that the Akashic records or the halls of Amenti. But that would be one of the levels of heaven, meaning that in these Jewish mysticism practices, there are different archives and records and their traditions. So in a Jewish Kabbalah, whatever, like they practice in their society, that's what they believe in. Now, you don't have to believe in that, but that's what they believe in. So if they believe in archives and records in their heaven, what heaven are we seeing then? And how did you see that heaven? What does heaven look like to you? And how do you know what these records look like? So it's all life. So basically, life is all perspective and different traditions. That's why religion is nothing but a closed-minded practice anyways, because many people have a different interpretation of what God or heaven or hell even looks like. Another one, M-A/O-N, so Ma'on. The habitation of angels who minister to Almighty God and sing praises. Literally. So to me, that sounds like different divine entities or higher ascended masters. They reign in this different domain to where they just sing to the Almighty Creator, but they're not actually singing with their voice. Why? Because they don't speak English. So it's like a frequency. So if you go on Apple Music or Spotify, you type in 999 hertz, for example, that's basically what they will be doing to the Almighty Creator. Not only that, angels are basically a subconscious, actually, they're a split mirage of Almighty God through an angelic perception, basically. So Almighty God is singing to himself through angels. Another one, Zebul, so Z-E-B-U-L. This is a dwelling place of celestial beings, including some archangels, literally. So Lucifer, Michael, Gabriel, all these, and that's the thing too. Lucifer is still up there, literally, because when it comes down to different portals or dimensions, they're able to split time and make it their own timeline, literally. So Lucifer never left heaven because he made it his own. She made it its own, literally. On top of that, the Almighty Creator is still Lucifer. So the Almighty Creator is having a dream to Lucifer's enlightenment, meaning that so Gabriel's still up there, Zachariel's up there, Jether's still up there, and I'm naming just different archangels that you probably never researched before, but there are many archangels, including yourself. Now, another one, Aravot, so A-R-A-V-O-T. This is the highest heaven, where Almighty God's throne and the highest order of angels reside, literally. And to me, Almighty God isn't just sitting on a throne like this, just watching. No, because our Creator's energy can't even sit itself down. That makes no sense to me. On top of that, Almighty Creator is not even it's not a physical thing or a being. It's literally just a thought. It's like Almighty God is consciousness. So it's like, it's transparency. So meaning it's right in front of you in this video and you can't even see it, but that's how real it is. And on top of that, the highest order of angels are basically, when you have a spiritual awakening and you actually go up into these different dimensions, that's basically where you will be at and you reside at. So your consciousness, your thoughts will reside at the highest order of what heaven actually looks like. And it's so beautiful to where when you come back from that spiritual awakening or that dream, you won't be able to, actually, I take that back. I won't say you won't be able to. depending on how intelligent you are, you can articulate it, but it won't make sense to a closed-minded person. But going to those highest orders to where these angels reside at, it's the most beautiful thing ever, because it shows you what home really looks like. And that's exactly why we had to prepare for what this actually looks like, because do you want to stay in this dimension where Satan reigns, or do you want to go to where Almighty God is reigning at, to where you're at a blissful state, to where nothing even matters because you can't die? There's no sadness, no depression, there's no negativity, no anxiety, there's no nervousness, there's no sadness, there's no bills, there's no fighting, no working, because you're working for yourself through Almighty God's perception, because you're basically going back to what you are, which is God, literally. So to the Jewish Kabbalah, I actually believe that, because there's many interpretations spiritually. Like, I believe in stuff like this, because when you actually experience, like, you have to experience it to even understand what the hell I'm talking about. Because physically you can't walk to these different portals, but if you're on DMT, if you do shrooms, if you just sober, if you meditate, if you go outside and sun gaze, if you just nature gaze, if you just go outside and you go within yourself, you'll know what I'm talking about. You don't have to pray, you don't have to read books, you don't even have to read information to understand this stuff. It's common sense, but it's not common for a reason. Now, the Islam tradition, this is what they believe in. All right, so fourth heaven, home to the prophet Idris or Enoch and angelic beings, literally. So of course with the book of Enoch, this is where they think that this prophet will dwell at. I don't know why they believe in that, but that's what they believe this is. But of course Enoch is still an angelic being. So the fourth heaven is nothing but a fourth dimension above our 3D comprehension, basically. Now the fifth heaven, this is a reigning place of the prophet Aaron and other celestial beings, literally. And that's what they believe in. So of course they probably teach so in the Islam tradition, they probably teach their society or their people about the prophet of Aaron and other celestial beings. So now the sixth heaven, inhabited by the prophet Moses and numerous angels, literally. And in the seventh heaven, the highest level where the prophet Abraham resides, in the location of the divine throne. So they all are telling me the exact same thing. So who's right and who's wrong? So either way it goes, I wouldn't say there's seven heavens, because there's numerous of them, because you can't put a number on your own consciousness. That never makes sense to me, because it's like people will tell you, oh, there's this number of dimensions, but it's like, who told you that? Like, you believed it and then you just took it and ran with it, but did you ever see it for yourself? And if you did, how could you articulate it? It's damn near impossible, but impossible is still possible. Okay, different Christian apocryphal texts. Now, so to them, their fourth heaven, or the 4D dimension, the realm of the sun and the moon, and some orders of angels. Now, when it comes to the sun and the moon, so every time we look up in the sky and we see the sun and the moon, that is basically heaven. Like, you're basically looking up at a higher celestial body. So if you see the sun and the moon, that is the Illuminati. That is the all-seeing eye. That is Big Brother. That is Almighty God watching you from that perception. So I do see that. And then angels. The thing is, we are at war with principalities, and we're at war with Nephilim, we're at war with giants, we're just at war with consciousness in general. So angels are demons, basically. And the thing is, too, you can look up this within yourself as well, but the different orders of angels, there's many of them, because actually, we got time, Let's go ahead, because, you know, the internet is free, and people will say, too, why are you using the internet to do your research? You believe the internet? I actually do not believe the internet, but the thing is, though, I can use contradictions for the internet. That's why it's a gift for me. But for you, it's like, you probably like, I don't believe the internet. But it's like, how can you do your own research? You don't just know everything off the muscle. It's like, it makes no sense to me. Okay, so we got thrones. Okay, so these are the different, so there's 9 orders of angels: thrones, dominions, principalities, seraphim, cherubim, powers, sovereignties, archangels, and angels. So yeah, basically that's what. And if you want a picture too, I got a picture for you right here. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. I ain't gonna lie, talking calm feels better. Like, it just feels relaxing. Like, not rushing my words, taking my time. I really appreciate you. To the person, you know who I'm talking to, I appreciate you. It feels so great. So here is what this picture looked like. And I'll put it on the screen too when I edit it, but that's basically what these different angels will look like per se. Now, of course, angels don't technically have a image, because you can't really see transparency. So somebody had a dream about these things and made it reality, but it's not reality. So these beings, if you're really truly awakened, like you're destined for awakening, then of course they'll present themselves to you. Fifth heaven, domain of higher angelic beings and some of the heavenly armies. Literally. Okay, so now, so all the 9 angels that I named, that's where a lot of them will reign, meaning that in this 5th dimension. So to me, heaven means dimension. I don't see heaven, like, I don't even call heaven that, because heaven is a mindset, meaning that if we're thoughts of consciousness, that means our thoughts will transfer into a higher heaven. So heaven is not a place you walk to. You have to your mind has to be able to comprehend that timeline mentally. Once you go there mentally, then you'll find the domain of higher angelic beings, which is why we have to be able to comprehend how the Illuminati even does what they do, because they're able to prophesize their own prophecies and higher enlightenments, and they're able to bring that ascension to their own descension or descendants in this 3D dimension. And we, being human beings, we accept it and we let them harvest our energy, because we have no idea. We don't, for one, we're hard-headed, we're selfish, we don't research, we don't do anything to boost ourselves up to get to a higher enlightenment, to where we are supposed to be. And because of that, that's where these different armies will reign at. So because of that, these different entities or these heavenly bodies are able to split themselves in different enlightenments. And once they do that, they're able to procreate with us, because they can shapeshift and create energy. And once they procreate with us, that's why they have a Nephilim story as well. Once they procreate with us, now we have hybrids and demigods. So you and I, meaning that our parents, our ancestors, once they transcend from the physical death, they go right back to where they came from, and they do the same exact thing. So they're basically astral projecting and cheating Almighty God. So they're literally mocking Almighty God's consciousness by doing this. That's how enlightened they are, because they are God. They know God. And who do you think allowed them to actually play with Almighty God's name? Literally, our Almighty Creator is an observer. So we're all children. So somebody will be like, why do angels do this? Because we're all children to the Almighty Creator. So it's like we're all in it's like playing tag in a playground with millions of people. It's like if somebody gets killed, like the Almighty, for example, the Almighty Creator is so, like, it's a silent observer. So because of that, it'll watch all of us just like this. Somebody gets killed. Somebody gets smacked in the face. Somebody gets punched. People are fighting. People getting shot. It's just watching itself through you, literally. So it's like Almighty God is not going to stop itself from doing itself, literally. The 6th dimension or 6th heaven, inhabited by archangels and the guardian angels of nations, literally. So same exact thing for the Islam and the Jewish tradition as well. And then the 7th dimension, the highest heaven, where God's presence is mostly fully manifested along with the highest order of angels. And this is basically where, and that's still though, I don't believe that, because it's like, from one, the highest number is 9. But if that's the case, there's higher timelines than just 9. So to me, there's basically 9 infinite dimensions, because infinity would be the highest number per se. But infinity isn't even a number, it's just an infinite thought or infinite number. So it goes on forever, meaning that 9 goes on forever. But of course, with 9, you can still have 8 or 7 or 6 or 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. So 1 through 9, there are 1 through 9 billion heavens that we think are a part of our lifestyle or a part of our consciousness. So where now we are trying to comprehend which heaven to go to or which heaven to reside in, but it's like heaven is what you make it. So depending on how enlightened you are, or depending on how much you stay in your spirit with information, that will determine where you will go into the next life or the afterlife, if you want to call it that. So at this point, you'll basically be seeing Almighty God through you, if you actually do make it to that higher level of consciousness. But once we go into the afterlife, you are still seeing Almighty God in your own perception. So you can't fear yourself, because you'll be seeing God and Satan through your own enlightenment mentally. Now, Theosophical tradition, and this is a spiritual philosophy, and this is what their plans of existence will mean to them. And this is the last teaching, basically. So Buddhic plane, realm of pure intention and spiritual insight, literally. And that'll be like a 4th dimension, I guess you can say. It's either way, there's no number on them, but that's what they believe in. So the next one is Atmic plane. So ATMIC plane, the plane of spiritual will and higher purpose. The next one, Monadic plane. So MONADIC plane, the level of divine self, the spark of divinity in each being. And then the last one, ADI plane, ADI plane, the highest level of spiritual reality, closest to the source or divine. Literally, so either way it goes, all these interpretations are beautiful either way it goes, because we just basically read spells, and because of that, many of them have their own interpretation of what divine or divinity even looks like. And because of that, so the realm of pure intention, I just feel like, and spiritual insight, in this realm, you basically know all, you are all, and you love all, and you are the creation of all things. And the thing is too, I resonate with these teachings because I have experienced, excuse me, I have experienced heaven within my own experience. So I resonate with these things, and it's just a beautiful thing. Like, that's why I do these teachings, because it's like, if we truly understand what heaven looked like if you were able to, if Almighty God was holding your hand and walking you through heaven and telling you, like, and the thing is too, when I mean walking you through heaven, for a temporary time period, like, so he placed a time limit on you. He said, walk with me, my child. I'm gonna show you something. And you're just traveling. That, to me, in my experience, was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. So where when I awakened from that experience, from that dream, I'm gonna bring that to reality, because there's no way somebody can't tell me Almighty God don't exist. Can't nobody tell me my Creator don't exist. That's why I'm gonna always fight for my Almighty God, because my Almighty God doesn't even speak, but He and She speaks through me spiritually, in the plane of spiritual will and higher purpose. Meaning that if you want to find your purpose, you have to actually transcend your ego to get to these different dimensions internally. So you have to actually awaken your ego to even go inside of yourself to comprehend yourself on a higher purpose level. And the thing is too, as human beings, we have no purpose. So we create our purpose to make meaning out of our meaningless life. The next one, the level of divine self, the spark of divinity in each being. And this is basically how I became a divine messenger, because I transcended to that enlightenment, or I transcended to that heaven, to where I made it my own. Once I found myself, I became a divine being. That's where I knew about divinity, because before I became divine, I was always logical. I was always using common sense, but I was still ignorant. But once I dominated my ego, that's when I was able to now go higher than my own mind could comprehend. So I became open-minded and fell down in the rabbit hole, Alice in Wonderland. And then the last one, the highest level of spiritual reality, closest to the source or the divine, literally. And with this one right here, that's where our divine Creator actually reigns in a conscious aspect, because our Almighty Creator is all loving, all knowing, it's everything. And it's just, you can't even put it into words on how beautiful bliss actually is. And it's the mirage of Satan as well, and Lucifer, which is why people can't comprehend God being Satan. And that's what people say, you know what you're talking about, this or that. It's like, it's cool. There's no need to get mad with people. There's no need to bash people for what they believe in. No matter what, you can be spiritual or religious. Almighty God does not care. Are you a good person? Are you spreading your good works to other people? Are you giving service to others? Are you just doing the right thing? Do you walk around with love? Do you give love to other people? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we judge all day, and when people are at a higher level in life, ignorant people will judge them and try to bring them down to the same level as them. But the thing is, though, same thing when Jesus told his Father. It's like, people are programmed, they're unconscious. So we have to forgive them for the unconsciousness. And it has nothing to do with you, but I was saying that way too fast. It has nothing to do with you, but you have to understand that no matter what are you going to do about that? Because either way it goes, you are still unconscious as well. No matter how conscious you think you are, you're still unconscious in this unconscious spectrum, or this unconscious reality that we call Earth, or the simulation, or heaven. So either way it goes, we're all in school. So even after you graduate high school or college, you are still learning about yourself through yourself and your own perception of self, meaning that you are self inside of yourself. So this whole life is nothing but you observing yourself outside of yourself, inside of yourself, through your mind or your ego per se. Spiritually, you have to actually become awakened into finding out who you actually are on the ego aspect. And once you become to find yourself on the ego aspect, you'll know that God, or Almighty God, is a divine source of yourself. And it's a spirit, it's a frequency, meaning that energy can never lie. So when God walks into the room, like, people will stare at you, people will know who you are, people will want to be around you, they'll be attracted to you. Not only that, you'll remain handsome, you remain beautiful, you remain pretty. Why? Because that spirit or that divinity, that frequency is residing itself on your physical body. So like my aura, I'm able to see how big my aura field is, and that attracts people. It attracts bugs, dogs, women, kids, children, men, pause. Like business opportunities, jobs. It attracts everything in this dimension. Why? Because You are God. And once you find yourself, it's like you don't have to try anymore. You can be quiet and people still will be concerned about what you're thinking about. You don't have to say a word. Like, you can go to your job for like instance, right? You can go to your job and people can just stare at you and you're the new person on the block. But once you speak, like, for example, somebody can say, what's a fun fact about you? And what I said was, I teach people common sense. And people who are close-minded, they'll be like, whoa, that's genius. It's like, relax. It's not that serious. And then another experience I had too, because I had to do this for work as well. But when we were in like the meeting room, one of our supervisors asked, give us another fun fact. So when it came to me, and I'm in a classroom full of like maybe over 30 people. So when it came to me, I said another fun fact. I was like, I despise fast food. And people were like, oh my God. And I was like, bro, chill. Like, it's not that serious. It's just like, it's common sense to me. I despise fast food. It's not real food. It's disgusting. On top of that, it's cannibalism. But that's a whole different story, a whole different topic. But either way it goes, man, just be yourself. And when you find Almighty God, people will know and they'll see that for what it is. So to the person that asked this question, thank you for that. And this is the first time I took my time slowing my words down, and it feels great. And I'm going to keep on doing this practice. Of course, I make mistakes. I have flaws. I have insecurities as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But the grind don't stop. The teachings don't stop. And I'm going to slip up. I'm going to stutter my words. But it's exciting talking about Almighty God, man. Like, it's so much knowledge, so many downloads that my mind gets. It's like my mind isn't even on a timeline. So the things that I see mentally, the words just can't even describe how it even makes sense to me. So I do try my best, but I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and make sure you share this if you enjoyed it. And welcome to the family if you are new. And thank you so much, and I'll see y'all in the next video. I love you. Have a great day, God and Goddess.